Hello everyone and welcome to today's Wild Rift video. In today's video I'm going to be talking about Varus's rework and why he is the strongest champion right now in Wild Rift. There is a lot of confusion in the community. I think ever since patch 6.2, ever since his rework, no one really understands how his new passive works, how his second ability works, and also what is the correct build. So that's what I'm going to be running through in this video, and then I'll talk you through a gameplay later on to tell you a few tips and tricks when it comes to a real game scenario with Varus. So first, let's go through his rework and go through his abilities. First, let's talk about his passive. His passive is now completely different to what it was before, and one of the main reasons why you now want to build full attack speed on Varus. So when you get a takedown, whether this is on an enemy champion or a minion or a monster in the jungle, Varus will gain attack speed. But on top of that, he will also gain attack damage and ability power based on how much attack speed he has. So the more that you build attack speed, for example, if you build the likes of Berserker's Greaves and Nash's Tooth and Runa's Hurricane, which I can quickly show you now, Berserker Greaves, Nash's Tooth, Runa's Hurricane, you can see that this number goes up. But this number that you see on your screen is not the actual number that you'll be receiving after a takedown. Basically, what this is doing to you is this is telling you how much AD and AP you would get if you didn't get a takedown and if you didn't get a kill. But if I walk over to a jungle camp and if I quickly take down a jungle camp, you'll see that this number will change and it will tell you how much AD and AP I will be getting. So when I get a takedown, you can see there on non-champion takedowns, I gain 18 attack damage and 18 ability power. And then it changes the numbers itself. So if I take down this blue buff real quick, you'll see that my AD and AP will actually go up. There you go, 193 AD and 18 ability power. And this will scale every single time that you build more attack speed, and of course the more times you put in levels and how much attack speed you have in your kit. So making sure now that you build attack speed is very important, and of course if you get a champion takedown you gain more AD and more ability power. And these bonuses can also last for up to 11 seconds. This also means that it's very important before you join a team fight to try and get at least a takedown on a minion or a monster in the jungle before you join a team fight, so you gain the extra AD and ability power when you first join a team fight. So Varus is not very strong at the start, right at the start of the team fight. However, if he gets one takedown on a champion, he becomes very, very powerful and you gain a crazy amount of AD and ability power over time. For his first ability, nothing really got changed with first ability. The only thing now is that his arrow now does more damage based on increased charge time. So the longer that you charge your first ability, the more damage you'll be able to do. However, with this style of build now with Varus, we are going for more on hits. So most of the time, the only reason you would want to use your first ability is to proc your Blighted Quiver stacks. You won't really use your first ability otherwise. This is not a poke build. Your first ability is not really going to do that much damage unless you use your second ability. And the most important thing to note now with your second ability is when you activate this ability, it no longer gives you bonus on hit damage. I see a lot of people making the mistake of using the second ability for no reason at all. They use the second ability and all they're doing during their second ability when they activate it is by auto attacking. The only reason now that you would want to activate your second ability is if you're going to use your first ability, Piercing Arrow. You can see there that the active Varus's next Piercing Arrow deals bonus damage based on the target's missing health as bonus magic damage. And this is very important because now you have more base damage from the passive part of Blighted Quiver, which means that your on-hit damage is going up. So that's why you build attack speed items and AP items in general, because the passive just gives you bonus on hit damage with your auto attacks. So the attacks deal 50 bonus magic damage, as you can see here, which also scales up, and every single time that you level, this base damage goes up. So you can see it's 20 in the early game, but it can scale up to 50. And this is one of the main reasons now why you actually want to max Blighted Quiver as your first ability. So when you're going into laning phase, you start off with your first ability, you then go to your second ability, so you can actually proc the Blighted Quiver with your first ability and do a lot of damage, but you want to max this as your first ability in the game so you can get more auto attack damage off as soon as possible. These numbers did get a little bit nerfed in the previous patch, but honestly Varus is still a great champion and everything else still works completely fine. Hail of Arrows didn't change. The most important thing to note with Hail of Arrows is that you can apply grievous wounds, which is very important. Oh, and also another thing as well with your second ability is detonating blight stacks now reduces the basic ability cooldowns by 13% per stack, so you can actually go up to 39% cooldown reduction when you proc your Blighted Quiver stacks. So when you use your ultimate, for example, or when you auto attack 3 times, when you use an ability, this is going to mean that the cooldown of your other abilities are going to be lowered. So you can actually spam your abilities quite a lot when it comes to team fights. You auto attack a few times, you use an ability, you auto attack a few times again, use an ability. This is a cycle that you want to do with Varus to make sure that you can actually get as much damage off as possible. I can quickly actually show you on a target dummy. So if I auto attack 3 times, if I use my second ability and use my first ability, you can see here that my first ability went from 9 seconds down to 5 seconds, and I can auto attack 3 times, use my third ability, and then my second ability is back up, and you can keep doing this cycle over and over again. And this is one of the other main reasons why you also want to build attack speed, because then you'll be able to get a crazy amount of damage as well with being able to stack the auto attacks with lethal tempo, stack it with your items, and then keep cycling your abilities over and over again. The most important thing is that you need to make sure that you auto attack 3 times before you use an ability, because detonated your Blighting Quiver stacks scales with your magic damage, and that's because we're going to also be going for other magic items like Ritter Maker to deal true damage, Infinity Orb, and Awakened Soul Stealer. But we have enough attack speed, in this build to actually benefit from the passive at the same time. But like I mentioned, Hail of Arrows doesn't really mean too much. It's not changed at all. Again, the big thing with your third ability is that you can apply Grievous Wounds. This is going to be very important during team fights. It means you don't need to build Morellonomicon, which is great. And the ultimate hasn't changed as well. Your third ability scales off AD, and again, your third ability is not going to do any damage at all. The only reason you use your third ability is for the slow, for the Grievous Wounds, and to also proc Blighted Quiver, so you can use your first ability and your second ability more often. And then the ultimate hasn't changed as well. Just to note that your ultimate, when you use it, you can gain 3 Blighted stacks over time over the next 3 seconds. So if you use your ultimate, wait 3 seconds, you can then use your second ability and do it like this. So you ultimate, wait 3 seconds, use your second ability, and then use your first ability to proc that Blighted Quiver. Look at that damage. The total damage of just that one combo itself, I did 3.8k damage just off that little bit of a combo there. So yeah, very important to know. I just wanted to do this quick intro to this video to kind of explain what's changed with Varus. So big things to know: passive benefits a lot from attack speed. You need to make sure that you get a takedown before you become very, very powerful. Your second ability, now there's more on hit damage, but you don't need to activate the second ability to get even more on hit damage. You only use your second ability when you're about to use your piercing arrow, and you only want to use abilities after you auto attack 3 times, so you can reduce the basic ability cooldowns by up to 39%. But that's everything with the intro. If anyone has any more questions about Varus, about his rework, again, I just want to do this intro just to explain to you how the champion works now, because he's so different to what he was before patch 6.2. Yeah, with this build, with this style that you go for as well, I can quickly show you my runes, but I'll talk about during the gameplay. That's my runes, and you can see my build there as well. So you're just building attack speed with AP. So our auto attacks and our on hit damage does a crazy amount of damage. So yeah, onto the gameplay now. I'll see you all in just a second. Here we go, onto the gameplay of one of my games with Varus that I played off stream yesterday. I was playing some games off stream, playing some Varus yesterday, kind of testing out what Varus feels like after the nerfs. And to be honest, the nerfs didn't really do too much. His base AD in the early game was pretty annoying. I think that he was definitely one of the best level 2 champions in the game anyway, since your auto attacks are doing so much damage with your second ability, and then you could proc your piercing arrow and do so much damage. He's still very strong at level 2. He's still one of the strongest level 2 champions. At level 1, you kind of need to make sure you play a little bit safer, because you're not going to have your second ability to be able to deal bonus auto attack damage, and your first ability without your blighted quiver stacks are not going to do that much damage. I was kind of surprised that Jin had first strike there. I was like, wait a second, what I get first strike from? But then I realized that Jin's doing a bit of cooking with first strike on Jin. And then also they nerfed his second ability, so now you don't do as much on hit damage with your second ability. But because the build is so unique, and because his build synergizes so well with the AP version of the build and does a crazy amount of damage, you see here, as soon as I get level 2, I auto attack 3 times, walk up, use my second ability. Unfortunately, I actually lose this trade because I kind of didn't respect the heal and also the shielding of Karma. But that's kind of what you want to do with Varus at level 2, is as soon as you get it, you walk up, you auto attack a few times, you then use your second ability because you know that you're going to use your piercing arrow afterwards. But making sure that you don't waste your second ability now is very important, because like I said, the only reason why you want to use your second ability now is to do increased damage with your first ability. It does not do extra on hit damage now when you activate your second ability, which is so important to understand. But this lane is actually pretty annoying, especially because Jin took first strike as well. You can see that we're kind of struggling a little bit here. I'm actually going to try and do a little bit of damage here to the Karma. Proc the blighted quiver, flash over. Oh my god, I didn't even need to flash. I thought I was flashing over the wall there, but you see how much crazy damage I can do there with just auto attacking 3 times and then detonating the quiver stacks with my first ability. Crazy amount of damage, and that's just at level 3. That's just early on as well. Imagine how much damage that's going to do a little bit later on. Oh yeah, this is the game that, oh yeah, I remember this game now. This game, I had Samira top lane that was doing some interesting things, you could say, in this game. So that's going to be a lot of fun for you lot to see later on what the Samira is doing and how difficult this game was to carry. But yeah, you always want to go boots on your first back. Best boots now for Varus is definitely Berserker's Greaves. I mentioned already, his passive now scales with attack speed. The more attack speed that you have, the more damage you're going to be getting now with your passive. And also Berserker's Greaves got a nice buff for Varus, so now you can actually heal every single time that you auto attack, which is actually pretty nice. You can see here that I'm level 5, so I'm actually going to walk up here and try and kill the Jin. Unfortunately though, the one time that we wanted to engage, and unfortunately, look at that. Oh my god. It's so unlucky. Like, we had, I mean, it was correct for us to actually engage there because I had level 5 advantage. Nami wasn't level 5, which is completely fine. But I had the level 5 advantage, so I can walk up, use my ultimate, and detonate the blighted quiver stacks multiple times. Unfortunately, though, the Nocturne was there at the right place at the right time. Like, fair play for Nocturne for being there. Ganking when he doesn't have his ultimate, by the way, which is absolutely crazy. And then Jin survives on 1 HP. I think the enemy bot lane actually took double heal, which is not very good, but I guess in that scenario is actually pretty decent. So, yeah, a little bit unlucky for me, unfortunately, but it's fine. In the end, I was able to catch most of that wave because my Nami was able to stop the wave underneath the tower, which is really nice. But this Karma is definitely playing very aggressive. I don't want to walk forward here though, because I know the Nocturne just used ulti, but as soon as I know that Nocturne is bot lane, I can try and walk up. I have my ultimate again in 5 seconds, and this Karma is playing with like no respect at all. She's just walking up and just taking so much damage and trying to poke at the same time. So really, one Nami bubble now can kind of change this entire lane. But look at this Karma. Look how much this Karma is just walking up, randomly using ulti, randomly using abilities, and now it's the perfect time for us to walk up because Karma has no ultimate. Viego is here as well. And again, look, Karma's just walking up using her second ability every time, just disrespecting. I don't know why this Karma is just walking up into melee range when I have ultimate as well at the same time. But a nice little lane gank there from Viego actually helped us out a little. We can actually look for this dive onto Jin as well very easily. I can just use my auto attacks, use my first ability again, and there we go. Nice little cheeky double kill. My Viego went kind of crazy here and went even further than what I was expecting, but we were able to get another kill anyway. I was not expecting that Viego to keep going with the tower dive, but This guy is a little bit crazy, and also he survived on 1 HP as well, which is absolutely disgusting. Really showing the power of Viego after his buff that he received. So a great start to this lane, some early kills, some early skirmishes going in our way, and you can see just how much damage you can do with Varus. This is well, this is post nerf, I should say, not pre nerf. It's post nerf. This is after the nerf. This is on the new patch as well. Like, imagine how strong Varus was before with like 4 extra AD and even more bonus on hit damage with your second ability. So just seeing the power of Varus now makes me realize that I should have been abusing Varus every single time in solo queue in the previous patch, which, to be fair, I was playing a lot of him, but I just didn't really have the time to do this type of video. I've wanted to do this video for a long time, so then people have more of an understanding of how Varus works, because Varus can be very confusing, especially now with the rework. There's a lot of text to read, there's a lot of abilities to understand, but hopefully you'll have a bit more of an understanding. I actually make a huge mistake here, by the way. Me walking that way was probably one of the dumbest things I think I've ever done in this game. I swear to you. Like, I have no idea why. Also, I missed the third ability as well, which is pretty unlucky. It kind of worked out as bait in the end, but honestly, like, me walking up towards the dragon like that was absolutely stupid. Like, I should walk safely around my tower instead of walking through the river. Nocturne could have easily ultied me there, and I probably would have been dead. If Nocturne had ulti, Nocturne ultis onto me, I flash over the wall, he follows, and then he kills me every single time. So I got really lucky there. Like, as soon as I saw the dragon spawn, I was like, okay, we have prio, we can push the lane and walk into the river. Completely forgetting that Viego, that Nocturne has a global ultimate that he can just walk up and just probably one-shot me in one turn, but it worked out in the end. Kind of worked as bait in the end. No one will know that I made a mistake, but I just wanted to kind of explain that, yes, it was a mistake. I shouldn't have walked towards the river, but especially by myself. I should have at least waited for Nanami to walk up with me or stay with me, so even if Nocturne comes, then Nami can help me a little bit with the shielding and healing. But yeah, as you can see with this Samira, yeah, Samira top, not recommended. I would not recommend playing Samira top lane. Definitely not a champion that is going to be on my radar for a pick to play this patch, unfortunately. But hey, we live and we learn, I guess. We live and we learn. I think this guy wanted to swap with me actually for ADC, but I just didn't give him ADC because, hey, I'm an ADC main. I'm not going to swap. And sometimes you just have to play the role that you get given. Sometimes you get auto-filled. Everyone gets auto-filled, and sometimes you get the role that you want. So yeah, but I mean, I guess some people just don't understand that, and some people just instead just decide to completely troll. Land a nice ultimate here onto Jhin. You can see my auto attack damage as well. Proc the blighted quiver stacks, which is great. And then because of the cooldown, that really shows you there how much the cooldown reduction really helps Varus, because if I didn't have the cooldown reduction from me proccing my second ability, my blighted quiver stacks, I wouldn't have been able to get the double kill there. I auto attack 3 times onto the Jhin, or I use my ultimate, I then use my first ability, auto attack 3 times, use my third ability, and then my first ability comes back off cooldown again, so I have enough mana and I have the cooldown back up again on my first ability to snipe the Karma and get a cheeky little double kill. So that really shows you the benefit there of how you can cycle your abilities and get multiple procs of your blighted quiver stacks throughout an entire exchange in the bot lane. So that was really, really nice. Kind of shows you the power of how much the cooldown really benefits. I think honestly, low-key, that's probably one of the bigger buffs to the rework of Varus. His passive is really nice now because the style that you play Varus is very different. You're not playing this AP Riftmaker style. Well, you're kind of still playing a little bit of AP, but like before it was Essence Reaver, Trinity Force, Riftmaker. Like the build never made sense to anyone, but it made sense to people that understood how Varus works. But now he has a little bit more of an understanding, but it still can be complicated. I still see people building like Lethality Varus with trying to go for the poke build. It's just not as good as this on-hit build, man. Like this on-hit build is just so damn powerful. You get so much damage with your auto attacks, your bonus AP on-hit damage. And the crazy thing about Varus as well, and also another reason why I think he's so strong, is because he has a lot of mixed damage. You can see when I auto attack here, I'm doing AD damage and I'm doing AP damage at the same time. But then when you build Rift Maker on top of that as well, you can also deal true damage. So you have 3 different damage types in your build: AD, AP, and true damage. If you're on the enemy team, how do you itemize against that? Like, it's a serious question. Like, I have no idea how you itemize against Varus when he does AP damage, AD damage, he does on hit, he does ability damage, he has crowd control, and he auto attacks at the speed of light like Lightning McQueen. It's absolutely crazy what you can do. So this is a pretty boring part of the game, but this is actually a very important part of the game. As you're seeing what I'm doing at the moment, I'm basically walking from top to bot lane, top to mid lane, and I'm just catching minion waves. This is sometimes what happens in the mid game, is that what you'll do is you'll just walk from lane to lane and just keep farming. You never really want to stick in one lane as an AD carry. Unfortunate there that I missed the flash route, but I got the Nocturne flash in the end, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm basically walking from one lane to the next lane. I'm trying to get as much farm as possible. This is your main goal in the mid lane as an AD carry. You're not really going to be able to deal that much damage. Sometimes you might be useful in team fights if you can actually get there. Yeah, as you can see there, my Samira just diving underneath the tower, just diving onto Rise, and yeah, dying. Just a typical Samira scenario, I guess. Samira top lane, by the way. So what you saw me doing there is going to mid lane, catching a minion wave, going top lane, catching a minion wave. So I was walking from lane to lane, and Nami was by my side, so I was completely safe with walking from lane to lane. But you can see I'm just farming up, and I'm just trying to get as much gold and as many items as possible. If I can keep walking from lane to lane, then it's very important. I ping here that we can actually go Baron because we see 2 people in top lane. Unfortunately, we don't start the Baron, but we do see the Scion. I do get caught here. I don't know. I feel like I was really unlucky here because I had my Nami by my side, and my idea in my brain was actually correct. Like, me going towards Baron there was fine because I saw Jhin and Karma top lane. I was like, cool, like this is still early game Baron. It just spawned. You can one-shot Baron. But unfortunately, the rest of my team wasn't with me, and I didn't use stasis. I thought I used stasis, but by the time I tried to click stasis, I got knocked up by Scion, and I just got completely one-shot. So it was, you could say that was some, I feel like my idea was correct. Like, I definitely think we should have gone Baron there, but at the same time, I guess I should have walked a different way around. But I just thought we had full control of the Baron pit there. I thought we could definitely walk in, but again, it's me not respecting Nocturne at the same time. But either way, it's completely fine. Luckily, they didn't take Baron from this. They could have taken Baron, which could have been very, very scary, but in the end, it wasn't that bad. We get caught again by the Scion, by the way. The Scion is very annoying, and you can see, like, I'm so worried about this Nocturne right now. So I'm just sitting back trying to make sure that I don't get caught out. Yeah, I tried to walk up, tried to get a pick there onto Karma, but again, this Scion is getting so tanky because he was able to get so many kills on Samira early on. He's so tanky now, and he does a stupid amount of damage. Scion is a champion. If he just runs away with the game, he just one-shots you as a tank, and he's just unkillable. Great thing is Varus is known, especially this on-hit build, to be a tank killer. Because again, as I mentioned, I made a misplay there. Again, as I mentioned, you're building AP, AD, and also true damage. So after I complete Rift Maker, I'm actually going to be very, very useful to trying to kill this Scion. But before then, it's a little bit more difficult. This time, I actually used my stasis, and I used my flash to get away as well. Luckily, I actually had the abilities there to help me out, and I had the stasis there to help me out. But again, my Samira just dives in onto 4 people and just runs it down and just dies again. So yeah, this game was just a lot more difficult because this Samira, this is basically a 4 versus 5 game, to be honest. Like, this Samira was pretty useless this entire game. But now I have Rift Maker on base pretty much, so I kind of want to go back to base here and buy Rift Maker. But I'm so worried about them starting Baron, because at any time they can start Baron. You can see here, yeah, look, they're starting Baron here, so I have to walk up and I have to try and stop them. I use my ultimate, so then Viego gets vision. I try and use my second ability to snipe, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get it. But now you'll see the craziness of the attack speed, by the way. When I get one takedown, look at my attack speed. Look how much damage I deal. Oh my, look at that. My attack speed is absolutely crazy. And if I keep proccing the blighted stacks, you do so much damage. Like, I'm really sad there that I wasn't able to go back to base and I wasn't able to get Riftmaker. So I'm pretty sure if I had Riftmaker as well, I probably had the healing in my kit to stay alive. But you can see there what you can do. Like, your main focus now with Varus is just auto attack, auto attack, auto attack. You just get crazy amounts of attack speed and you do a stupid amount of damage. You can see that, like, all you have to do is auto attack a few times. And yeah, as you can see, my Samira just ran mid lane and completely entered again. So again, kind of showing you that this game is basically a 4 versus 5. Accidentally used my ultimate there. Don't judge me. I was actually trying to ping the Baron, but yeah. Yeah, Varus is pretty fun. Like, the champion is pretty damn strong. Now you'll get to see how much damage I can do to a Scion. It's not that bad. You can see I did like a quarter of his HP with one Blighted Quiver stack. I got a little bit caught out here by the knock-up from the ultimate. I thought I could dodge it. And I actually nearly died here as well, which would have been pretty sad, but luckily the Nami healing was enough in the end. You can see there, auto attacking 3 times, use your second ability, and then use your first ability straight afterwards. So you can see that from full HP with Scion, I took like a quarter of his health, which is not normal for an AD carry, to be fair. There is definitely some other AD carries that can definitely not do that. Maybe the only champion that can do that is someone like Vayne, for example, but either way, could be pretty good. Also, this Kale built AP this game and actually looked pretty damn strong. I think we can actually try and end the game here, right? We got 5 seconds left for Scion. We can at least get an inhibitor here. Maybe we can get even more, but I'm not really too sure. I think it's a little bit scary to try and keep going afterwards, but maybe we can kill the Scion. We'll have to see. Maybe the Scion just walks up. Yeah, like this. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, Scion walking up here is just a huge mistake. He should definitely... I mean, he's trying to clear the wave, I guess, so it's a little bit difficult for him, but... Yeah, again, showing my burst damage. I mean, KO is also a pretty nice champion to do a lot of burst damage. And then, guess who Nocturne's ulti in? And guess who's not with us? Oh, yeah, it's Samira. I actually think Samira kills. Yeah, Samira somehow kills Nocturne here, by the way. I have no idea how. This guy's just been running it down this entire game, but somehow was able to get the kill. Tried to escape, but yeah, couldn't escape in the end. I don't know what's wrong with some people's mental sometimes. Like, some games, all you have to do is just get carried. Like, I understand that sometimes. Sometimes I have a bad game, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm getting carried. All I have to do is just play safe. But this Samira is just like, yeah, I'm just going to keep going in. I'm just going to keep engaging. I don't care if I die 1 versus 5. I'm just going to jump in anyway and try and deal as much damage as possible. So, hey, sometimes people's mental is like that. So it can be it's a little bit difficult for someone like me that actually never trolls in any of my games. I always try and win. And then you have some people in this game that just want to just run in and just die for fun for no reason at all. So yeah, pretty annoying when you have the right mentality, but other people in this world just don't have the same mentality as you, and they just want to troll for fun. I'm being scared here. I'm being a little bit worried here for the Nocturne ultimate. I need to be a little bit careful. I see Rise here as an opportunity in a Karma. I actually flash ulti, and you know what's funny in this scenario? I actually wanted to flash ulti onto the Karma, but she walked away, but I was able to kill the Varus anyway. And again, look at my crazy auto attack speed. Another triple kill as well. And then do I survive? I survive as well. And then I'm pretty sure that's going to be the end of the game. We're going to take Baron, and then we're going to end the game. So my goal there was actually to flash ulti onto the Karma, and because I had stasis up and I had exhaust, I was like, okay, if I flash ulti, I can still survive the Nocturne ultimate because I have stasis. So I was like, I need to be the one to engage and get a pick. I was able to get a pick. It was actually onto the Jhin and not the you see my damage there as well. It's so disgusting. It was actually onto the Jhin there instead of the Karma, but I guess auto aim helped me out there, question mark. Like, I don't know how my ultimate went onto Jhin and not Karma, but it worked out in the end. It was very weird. Like, during the game itself, I was like, wait a second, how did I even, what even happened there? There you go. MVP performance, 13, 3, and 7 on Varus with this AP style on hit build. 58,000 damage is absolutely crazy, by the way. 58,000 damage in I think like a 15-minute game. Your burst damage output with this build is absolutely disgusting. You can see there, lethal tempo max stacks. I was max stacks to lethal tempo for like 90 seconds during this game. Brutal doing a great amount of damage. Of course, Giant Slayer is very good against her comp because Karma's building health, Rise is building health, Nocturne even builds some HP, and also Scion as well. Legend Alacrity for the attack speed, and then Bone Plating giving us a helping hand as well. But yeah, just some crazy damage that you can do in the end as well. There you go, 13, 3, and 7. You can see my build on screen. 19-minute game. Not quite a 16-minute game, but 19 minutes. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay. Again, if you have any other questions with Varus, please let me know down in the comments. But hopefully this learned and taught you how to play Varus, but also why Varus is so strong at the moment in the current meta and why you should be adding him to your champions pool. So as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next Wilder video. Peace.